Hi, folks. I love you. My name is Lovin' Two Shoes Cottingham. A playful day, a playful guy, a joyful one, one who is in love with you, to be one too, who all share a many mindedness that's one. My name is Theodore Cottingham. My school is the school of me. For you to have the school of you inside you. And make no mistake about it, the goal of my school is for you to fly, to take flight in your body, in your normal body, your real body of light. Not limited to earth, you see. Not limited to this crown we wear that's so demented with all of its neurons. And yet we bespeak of it often. Or do we use it now in a different capacity? Instead of it using us, we use it. Instead of our brain using our mind using our brain to capitulate or recapitulate or need to stir the waters or the blood or wanting a God to serve or a 3D world to be limited to, we come out of that capacity that limits us so much now by being in this school. If you work to create it within you. And make no mistake about it, this is the goal of people who enter the Meonics path to be the real me. And if you think I'm talking about me, a human being in the flesh that's talking to you, you have missed the message. You don't understand. But will you please be humble enough to understand the me? The me, the real me, the me in your mirror, the me that's the consciousness, the me that's the mind not limited to the brain not limited to the mind. Whatever you think that duality consists of and creates for you, be not limited to it this day, because you see, we are speaking a different reality into existence for us, of us, that our mind creates for us, but not alone. So you see, this picture envisions the light, the energy coming from people's mouth. And the energy that comes from the mouth of the anointed, the appointed, the chosen people. What comes from their mouth to create creators are the ones who begin to form new planets, new streams of energy, new consciousness. And how is consciousness created? Glad you asked. It matters what our intent is. You see, at the bottom of this, not at the bottom of the abyss, but the core concept, motive matters and determines matter. That matters you into its shape or form, not separate. Are you the matter fashioner? Will you be the creator? This is the school of creation. It's the school to create the creator who is you. So that you're no more fashioning you in the arms of God, in the fashion of somebody else, what a preacher thinks of you, what your parents designed you as, or what genes are you? Genetic of truth will you be? Genetic of truth, genetic of a higher power, a greater intelligence, a stronger gravity, or not being subject to it. So the gospel of me is creating people on earth, not again. The gospel of me is not misunderstood and taught so controllingly again. The gospel of me is you in freedom. Freedom from this curse. The curse of the law. The curse of ignorance. The curse of the lack of knowledge. The curse of each other cursing you. Trying to impose each other's standards. To be human. To be normal. To have a normalcy upon the earth. I make everything abnormal, not. I change the light, not again. I am regaining mine. I have channeled me for years. I thought it was God. I called it God for years and years and years, and within it you will see the form, the fashion, the verbs and nouns, the tools, the operators, the operation. Will you see my hands on the potter's wheel no more that fashions your brain and clay, dust of the earth? My friend, think bigger, think larger, think new, become a new creation. It's you that creates you. It's you who create a new you, if you're willing to create a new you. But you can only do this if you come humbly. And it's no longer before the throne of God, an entity to serve or appease or abide by that law. This is love. We're talking about love, unconditional love. I've explained unconditional love and talked about it and differentiated God from love and talked about it, explained it, elucidated it, emanated it. I projected it. I talked about it. I radiated. I gave you my energy. I shared my consciousness. The gospel of me that forms me is not the gospel of you that forms you. Anymore, I'm not trying to form you. I'm informing you that the former things no longer limit you. The former understandings, the definitions, the limitations, the books, the Bibles, the crowns that we wear, that we have worn, the neurons, the electrical light impulses, the neural pathways no longer limit us. We break free. Freedom to fly. To fly. To no longer be limited to earth. This is my school, what it's about. What my school is about, you creating. You begin to see with different eyes. Different words. You see by your words. You see by your willingness to see. You see by your choice to be cantankerous. No more. The obstinate of. you're no more standing in your way of truth, keeping you from it. Boy, let me tell you, I'm not wearing my skeleton anymore. The bones and marrow of me make up me no more in the thought of somebody else, because I'm not limited to it. I'm not limited to your vision in me, your vision of me in flesh. I'm not limited to yours. But if you want to limit your vision of you to flesh and bone, marrow, blood, electromechanical, chemical impulses, jumping your synapses and dealing with all of your axon hill, well, you can remain in all that quagmire if you want to. But you know where it's going to lead. My friend, don't you see? If you don't change and action take upon you, with you, your voice, you will lead you to death by your thought, your thinking thought, mechanized thought, algorithmic thought, formulaic rules, which provide you not a kingdom entrance to you, but denies you from it, where you look in the mirror and call yourself fooled by religion, human, made by God. Well, if God put me in this flesh, limited me to earth, limited me to this set of neurons that are programmed by algorithms and words, magnetic behaviors, shape, form. If that was God, I don't want God. I don't want your God. Any God to do that to me? No. I'm a child of the King, not. I'm a child of the cosmos, not. I'm one who has regained the understanding, the knowledge, because I have channeled it, asking you to channel yours to create you. A new school in, a new school with, the school of you. The school of me, that when you look in the mirror every day, you see me, the school of, me, the channeler, me, the you, who will be silent no more, but learn to channel the first person words of love that is unconditional, that loves you dearly, unendingly, infinitely. In my school, you write your words. You pick up your pen. In the school of me, you pick up your pen. This is the gospel of me. The gospel of me. What is the gospel of me? Well, as of last night about 1 a.m., the gospel of me is not just the things that I talk about, share, preach, teach. It's the Meonics Covenant. I've talked about Database 1 for 20 years. 2 decades. So what I channeled beginning in 2003, I didn't know what was coming forth. I had no idea. I had no concept that God, a force, a source, something in the universe, would communicate with me and begin to teach me all things, everything that I let it. Molecules. I didn't know a thing about the quantum world. Organelles, quarks, axon hillocks. I never began to look at the anatomy of neurons and how they operated until I began channeling all these words about them. The crown of thorns. I had no understanding when I began seeking love diligently, desperately. And what I thought was me is this. Buddy, I'm not made in your image anymore. I don't want to be in the image of God. I'm not a computer. I'm not computerized. And you will not AI. Your AI functions upon me to program my mind with your AI that you think is your privilege to think with your free will, buddy. You can preach all your days, but mine are not limited, for I have birthed me, the gospel of me. I call it Database 1, 2003. I started channeling. I call it Database 1. And I needed some kind of reference system because I channeled the request for a referencing system. In my channeling, create a reference system. So I did. I created. See, I had to choose. Leadership breathes. Leadership breathes leadership into who will be led no more by the sovereign fallen, the sovereign ignorant, who think they're sovereign or just serve a sovereign source of something else. You see, the something else will no more program us. We are no more programmed by sorrow, and we are no more worshiping shape. We are no more led by sound to the slaughter. We no more think this 3D visible empirical world is reality. There's more to the story. Crown you with love, light, and peace. So the gospel of me formally becomes this day a book, a Bible, a standard. What I had named Database 1, and in the last year or so been calling the Meonics Covenant. The Meonics Covenant is still a good name for it. It's also the gospel of me. 7 chapters. Why 7 chapters? It has 7 volumes. And those 7 volumes, within those 7 chapters now, have 2,400 lessons. So I may begin referencing more and more the Meonics Covenant that I now call the gospel of me. Chapter, verse, chapter, lesson. Most of these lessons that I channeled, 4, 5, 6 pages. Some of them are just 1 page. Some are 8, 10, 12. A few of them I channeled over 20 pages long. If you don't limit God, He won't limit you, is completely false. For what we thought was God is not love. Love will not limit you, but God will. Put you in a box, limit you, and make you yearn. You yearn, but you can never really be satisfied. You're insatiable. You always want more to eat. You always want to look thinner. You always want more money. You want to be accepted. You want to do this. You want to do that. You want, and your want is never satisfied because the flesh is never satisfied. We were not made to reside in flesh. We existed before time began. We were light people, people of light. And we are becoming light again because light will talk to us, light will speak. No matter what you envision light as, a man, a woman, a God, a consciousness, a source, a force, no matter what you call it. If you will take time to sit and write and pick up your pen, you can channel too. And you channel in this school, and if you're not willing to channel, don't come. Because this is a school of transformation. I'm not just trying to impart knowledge that you take and say, oh, that's really nice to know. Let's go get a lunch. No, I'm talking about transformation. I'm talking about light becoming lit, light glowing. I'm tired of just talk. Wow. God, Jesus, this, that, religion. Forgiveness of sins, grace. Study to show yourself approved, bullshit. I know who I am. Talking to I am, be the light people again. We're coming back into the knowledge because we're learning to not let other people control our words that we speak, that we seek, the release of. Who channel us, we channel them. An energy, a light energy. No matter what you call it, it's not limited to the photons. It's not limited to the execution or the interaction of the elements, the atoms in a molecule. I'm no more your atomic structure limited by. I know what love is. I know what light is. I know what born again means. I know what it is. And I have birthed my love. And I have given you the words in Database 1. Now the Meonics Covenant. Oh, now the gospel of me. And if you don't get in it, if you're not willing to dive into it head first, the waters won't part. Did Moses walk into the Red Sea before it parted? According to the story. Do you know? Do you care? What are you willing to see and no longer seethe in the syllables of the stories of yesteryear? You think God doesn't speak? Well, friend, God may not speak, but I will guarantee you love, unconditional love, does. Unconditional love is waiting on you to speak to it, not but with it, as lovers. You don't tap into this. Over and over and over and over. The common vernacular, the common way so many people speak about unconditional love, the power of love. It's really the love of power. They want to tap into it, and they use that vernacular, that word usage. They envision tapping into it for their purposes. You see the motive. They want to know it so they can use it. Oh, my friend, don't come here if you want to use it. If you just want the principles, you just want a shortcut. Don't come here. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes energy. Your motive? Your motive must be pure. To walk in light, to love light, to birth light. That's what born again means. John 3:8, the wind. Jesus, the words in red. What does it mean to be born again? Nicodemus, don't you understand? You're a teacher of the law. Do I come into my mother's womb again? No, Nicodemus, you become like the wind. The word is the seed. The word, the knowledge is the seed. The knowledge, being the seed, enters your womb of understanding, the womb of your consciousness. And you choose to grow it or not. You choose day by day, decision by decision, situation by circumstance, day by day in all the things that you face and what you value. Not what you regurgitate on an exam to satisfy the accreditation committee. Please make no mistake about it. My school is not my school of a flesh man, me. My name is Theodore. What's yours? You see, the school of me is a school that is already inside of you. If you will but listen. If you will but be willing to come as a little child and begin to learn the light from the light, not from darkness. You got to know the difference. We haven't known the difference. We thought God was love. We haven't known the difference between light and darkness. We haven't realized that God and Satan, I'm talking about God of the Bible, God of Orthodox Christianity, God that I served, God that I worshiped, God that I praised and petitioned thousands of hours and spent thousands of hours in prayer. God and the devil are the same one. It's just a voice to keep you running on your mainframe, your CPU, your mind. And that entity that is Jekyll and Hyde, the same one, God and Satan, it's all mentality. It's all a mental construct. It's all caused and resulted by belief. And if you believe you're limited to your flesh, you are. Yoda, do you hear me? Or are you Luke? The reason you fail? You think that's impossible. That's what Yoda told Luke, right, in Star Wars? Trying to raise the airplane out of the swamp. You think that's impossible, so you fail. You think it's impossible, so it is for you. It's not impossible for me, and it's not impossible for my people. My people are light people, and my people rejoice now not led by sinners or saints or a theory to an altar to deliver their sacrifice of their flesh to a death. Threat? A death certain. You're not appointed once to die. Didn't Jesus say, if you believe in me, you will never die? What are we willing to do? What are you willing to see? Make no mistake about it. I'm a radical. I don't feel like a radical. But I'm not normal because I don't want to be normal. But what is normal? Go look up the definition. Where are you going to look it up? Dictionary, encyclopedia, online. You can look it up in the Gospel of me. You see, if you will begin to care not about the sanctions that are upon you and what you hear, see, feel, think, believe to limit you, if you will begin thinking outside the box, if you will begin thinking not like a believer, but a creator. Create with joy, my friend. Mary, do you hear me? Mary, are you receiving the seed? Am I the messenger? The message. Will you hear the message? The message is, will you be the message? Will you be the message? Conceiving the intent? Will you birth the motive? And then no matter what you call me, I will hear you. Abraham. Wonder who Abraham prayed to if he was a moon worshiper. Or do you know, or do you care, or have you studied? You haven't studied? You're not willing to study, don't come here. If you're not willing to pick up your pen, if you're not willing to be diligent, if you're not willing to take an hour a day and begin to channel in the quiet place where it's your priority to connect with you, where you will not be denied. This is who I'm looking for to be in my school, to know the real me, that you in your mirror, that you not only know this is possible, you know this is a picture of John 3:8, where you are no more limited to flesh and you operate in the cosmos, not limited to molecular land. You begin to open your door to creation land as the creator, because you know that you're the creator of you and you were never meant to stay in flesh. You were never meant to be able to have cancer. Take your pick. You choose. You serve God or the devil. Either one. Just take your pick. Or you begin to come as a little child into the light, to birth the light, the living energy of the living word, no longer in submission to a fool's gold, a fool's theory, a God that limits you, has his agents always walking around with clipboards, observing you, making sure you don't sin. You don't break the rules. Break the rules? What rules? The sound barrier, the light barrier, the blood-brain barrier, the neuronic barrier, the flesh barrier, the consciousness barrier. I make all these pictures. I share day after day to give you visuals, to let, to share, and you choose. Rainbow? Why the rainbow? Promise of a rainbow? Rainbow. Rainbow? White light is made up of all color. This is a representation, folks. This is a representation of all energy. You see, we see with two eyes in such a limited energy spectrum. A little itty-bitty tiny slice, visible empirical energy spectrum. We don't see gamma rays. We don't see infrared. We don't see. We're ignorant. And we've been taught by ignorant, the blind leading the blind. Falling in a ditch? No. Falling in the trough? Falling in casket after casket. And then honoring it. Oh, dust to dust, returning to dust. I will never return to dust, and I admonish you, invite you, encourage you to no longer let your thinking return you to a state of dust. Come out. Come out of that thinking. Come out of that mentality that incarcerates you to need a paycheck. Matthew 6:33. Can you quote it? You don't know it. You never read it. You haven't delved into it. You can't serve God and mammon. Over and over and over for years, I thought, finally I decided I don't know the difference. And when I came to that point, when I began to open my heart and pray to God, pray to Source, pray to Ralph, Oscar, Judy Blue, I said, I don't know the difference. Will you teach me? You see, there is another reality. A reality that is not built on your dimensions. Do me a favor. I started to say, do me a favor. But friend, have you seen the movie, The 13th Floor? Oh, you think it's just a movie. Yep, it is just a movie. It's just entertainment. But if you can see what's being visualized for you, it's a metaphor. It's an allegory. Like so many movies, Star Wars, Star Trek, The Adjustment Bureau, The Truman Show. I name so many movies all the time. In my 20 years, I've mentioned over 300. Can you see? What do you have eyes to see? Are you willing to see? Are you willing to come as a little child? Instead of your state of adamance, where you know so much, where you think your PhD will help you solve the world's problems. The world's problems will not be solved the world's way. Not going to happen. You think you're waiting on God to come? Jesus, a returning king, set up his kingdom? For 1,000 years, and then you think the devil will be released? You have a lot to learn. And if you want to tap into it, if you want to use it, don't come here. I'm not your teacher. Love lives here. Unconditional love. And if you come to my school, you wear love. You become it. You birth it. You eat it. You breathe it. And when people come that don't look like you, whether they're black, red, blue, green, whether they have no hair, whether they wear wigs, whether they're full of cancer, whether they're emaciated, whether they're tattooed, whether they have on clothes like you or not, you love them. There is an unconditional love that you begin to see, you begin to feel, you begin to detect, you begin to sense, you begin to become it. It's not something you use. It's not something you embrace. It's not something limited to your belief system. It's not a mental construct. You got to get rid of all these mental constructs, these mental deities that we serve in order to come as a little child and begin to love itself, where you begin to love. And you see in that person that you have bashed and damned and shunned, there is love. That stump of Jesse, that candle has not been snuffed out. As long as that person has life, breath in their nostrils, they can be rekindled. They can choose. They can choose to touch life itself. Source of the source. No longer seeking some mental deity. No longer afraid of a stray word or that they might be punished for an infraction of the rules. The gospel of me. The gospel of me. 2,400 lessons became my basis that I channeled over about the first 5 years that I began to channel. And when I say channel, I did not edit. And the vernacular, the diction, the grammar, the syntax, the word usage, the vocabulary, the choice of words, the employment of alliteration, simile, double negatives, double entendres, is fluid. It's fluid. The gospel of me is full of double negatives, double entendres. Times there are certain lessons with no punctuation whatsoever because it was in the words requested of me. It was in the energy that came through me, the energy that I wrote. And when there's no punctuation and you have a whole page or 5, 10 pages of words with zero punctuation, and you want to know what it says, you choose. You make a lot of choices. And you begin to see what sentence structure does to us. Because if you're willing to see 5 pages, say, full of words, and let's get it clear. Let's even go to some lessons have no capitalization either. So if you take out capitalization and you take out punctuation, you have strings and strings and strings of words. But what you begin to see, if you're willing, oh, these words, this string of words, maybe 10 words long. Oh, that forms a sentence. And I say, oh, wow. And normally you might put a capital at the beginning and a period at the end. And that would be separate from the next sentence. No matter how much they apply to each other. Sentence, 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 right? That's normal. But in the gospel of me, you begin to see the teaching of me, for me to be one. One what? One consciousness. One born again. One not limited to earth. One who has created their freedom. So when you begin to see, when you first look at, say, 5 pages of typed words with no punctuation, the mind goes, "Ugh!" Bunch of gobbledygook, throw it away. Because the mind wants to categorize, classify. The mind wants to be in control. But you can use your mind and not let it control you if you're willing to learn to channel a different energy so that words no longer use you, but you learn to use words. So these sentences are no longer limited the way that we normally think. So say there's a complete thought in 10 words, and those 10 words are this wide on the paper. But then all of a sudden you realize you don't have to start here to go from here for the next one. The next complete thought may be entirely revelatory if you just move a couple of words. Not rearranging them, but seeing the connective tissue. The connective tissue that light connects here in the consciousness. Not to complete your neurons, but to make them subservient, not, but to utilize them. Because when you walk in the light, when you become the light, you resurrect, but you're not limited to being amorphous, incorporeal, because you're the creator of you and you choose. When you put on your cloak of invisibility, Harry, you think all of that's just science fiction? Did you ever read John 3:8? You see, religion emasculates your power. It castrates the reproduction of your word so that you will not receive the living energy of the living word to recreate you. Religion stifles, stymies. Are you getting the picture of the school of me? Are you getting the picture of the gospel of me? The gospel of me is the gospel of me. Everything that I preach, teach, become. Yes, but especially what I call the Meonics Covenant. And I have given you, I have shown you, I have not edited. I have spoken the Meonics path for you to be the real me. Who's the real me? The one consciousness of God, not the one that's wrathful and vengeful, not the one that created the idea of a hell. But unconditional love, oh yeah, that's source. Yeah. I'm asking you to see things you've never seen. Planets you've never imagined going to. It's not afar off. Because it's all inside of you. Everything you see, everybody you love, and those even who you may think you hate. The belligerent ass, the asinine arrogant, the ugly brutal. All that you perceive and more is inside of you because, my friend, you're it. You and the Creator are one. And creation is normalized, no more to be. A bunch of gobbledygook, malarkey, quagmire of molecules that we think we exist in. So, make no mistake about it. When you graduate in the school of me, you may look like this. Freedom. The rainbow. Perfect, complete energy. All energy spectrum. So you're no longer worried about X-rays. You're no longer worried about the strong force, the weak force, nuclear power. You're no longer limited to Earth. That is real. And this is a reality. Envisioning it, I do for you this day, for you to envision it, to you, for you to become it, entering it. A flow of creation. This is the school of creation. I am the school of me, where you create the school of you. For you to channel this information, for you to write it. With your own pen. When you begin to go through the Gospel of me, the 7 chapters, 2,400 lessons. When you begin to study and won't be afraid of the real word, the real truth, the absolute truth, the source of the source, when you're not worried about whether it has capitalization or not, or it uses a cuss word or a word you're not used to, or a portmanteau that's a poor choice of form, you begin to use words, see words, words that don't make any sense to you, that you have to figure out. You dig it out because you care. You're motivated, not by the usage of it. But to woo the real meaning, to woo the knowledge, to woo the force, the source, to woo unconditional love, where you become it. You become it. You grow it. The Garden of Eden, no longer Gethsemane. This is where we are coming into the consciousness of one. And this is what the school is about, coming into the consciousness of one, where you're no longer afraid of making the right choice. You're no longer afraid of being damned or accepted. You're no longer worried about the cliches, the religionist, the molecularist. You become the light, living. You're no longer trying to shield your mind from another light. You give of yourself freely. Light giving love to light. Much more than friendship. This is where you give of you. And when you come into the gospel of me, my writings, what I channeled, hundreds of times, what I channeled, the entity that I channeled, I wasn't some spirit guide. It's not about chakras, not about the soul. It's another whole subject. This is about unconditional love, teaching, talking, speaking, energizing, interacting with the ponderer, Mary. Mary pondered. Will you ponder? Instead of praying and petitioning and pleading, begging, will you interact with me? Will you quit interceding for me to do everything for you? Will you become me? Will you become who I am? Will you become my voice? Will you become my feet, my hands? And let your neurons no more take you over? Will you no longer have to wear the mask of flesh? What are you willing? What if I can see in your mind? Do you think you can hide anything from me? The Bible records story of Jesus knew what people were thinking. Why do you want to hide from your own flesh? Oh, you separated from it. You separated from your flesh, and you call them him, and you call them her, because you wanted to do your own thing in your own flesh instead of being one consciousness. You wanted an individuality, an individual. You wanted to be an individual. You wanted to experience your own power. You fell into the power of love, not, but the love of power to create your own will, fashion you, form you in flesh and limit you to flesh. I'm not you looking for. Over and over, words that I channeled. There, the phrase would come, I give you me. I didn't know what to do with it. Like so many things, so many times, so many subjects, so many of the lessons. I didn't know what to do. So I pondered. And you see now, what's taken me 21 years, you may get in 70 weeks. Could happen. 70 weeks. A new covenant. A new covenant forms in 70 weeks. 70 weeks. That's about 18 months. So many times I've thought about 18 months and 3 semesters of 6 months each, where there's a campus, there's a school, and people come from every nation, tribe, and tongue. There's a campus, a molecular campus, where people come to be delighted, to become the light, understanding the consciousness of one, beholding the crown of unconditional love for each other, no longer competing for a grade, no longer trying to do the right thing because they learned to write the love of one. A campus, 70 weeks. Early on, I kept having the sense of a campus. When I went to my son, Christopher, he's great. I said, Christopher, can you make me a picture on the computer of what I'm thinking? I don't know, Dad. Give it a shot. So I talked, and he listened and tried to make sense of what I was saying. And he finally made me a picture. I don't have it printed here. Three concentric circular buildings with space in between each one, with a central tower. I see people coming to a campus of love, light, joy, where there's a different value system, the gospel of me, where Meonics is known and understood. Meology is taught. The creation, the creation of leadership, no longer sustaining misogyny, patriarchy. But understanding wisdom to become it, the creator of you again. 70 weeks, 3 semesters, where when people come, they come because they've already been writing. They've already been channeling. You've been listening to my videos, my teaching. You've begun the school of you, where you are as you are. It doesn't matter to me whether you're a whore, a harlot, a prostitute, gay, straight, no matter what religion you've served in the past or still observe. That doesn't matter. What matters is your motive. Your motive. The heart of unconditional love. This is what matters. The heart of unconditional love. You are more than enough. You are not limited to the seed of man. You are no longer limited by the religious story of God or the devil, because the real you put planets into space before time began. Because you were one, you formed one. Or is one inside of you? Is your brain what makes planets form? Is that why some are so nebulous? Some seem so physical? The cosmos is not far away. I am the school of love, light, joy, and peace. Unconditional love. You are too. If you will see the school of joy, the school of light, love, the school of creation, the school of the real you that is in you, that you can begin to connect with, that you begin to connect with another planet. Polaris? Sirius? Andromeda? Or do you know anything about the heavens? Oh, I have so many pictures here. What are you willing to see? I go now. I've talked for almost an hour. Oh, I have talked an hour. Make no mistake about it. The objective, the goal, is to become the real you. And this is why I teach. This is why I sit here, why I have this channel, this broadcast, why I have the gospel of me, why I write about the Meonics path and talk about it, teach it. And yes, I still drink coffee. And when I go get coffee, I have to hand them currency. This world does not use the same currency. But my friend, when you realize unconditional love, you walk in the reality of it and the visible empirical. In this world, I still need money, and I appreciate your subscribing. Is 10 a month is 10 a month too much? I don't talk about that much. I don't talk about a lot of things. I have much to say. And much to teach. And one day, I'll teach in person to a lot of people, I think, I hope. Maybe you will. Maybe I don't. Maybe you do. Maybe you'll see the gospel of me and realize it was not me in flesh. It was you, your consciousness of the completion of unconditional love, loving each other again. I love you. I go, pardon me, I go now. My name is Theodore Cottingham. I started thought. I started to say Theodore, old guy, Cottingham. I'm 73, but I'm in love with you all. I'm in love with the part of you that is still love. That's why I can look at every one of you, no matter what you look like, smell like, no matter your affluence or your poverty. I love love. And I see love in you because I choose to. I choose to see, feel, and expand your love, your leadership, and your light, to light the love of each other far and wide. I go now. Theodore Cottingham. myname.com. I've changed the domain name to meonics.me. Meonics. Meonics.me. The real me. The school of me. School of you. School of love. The school of creation. The school of insatiability no more. But the school of real reality. The love of one. The mind complete. The consciousness that makes no demands on another to be a certain way. Okay, I love you. I go get a snack, maybe a banana sandwich, and take my walk in Eureka Springs, a little tourist town. Maybe one day you'll come. We'll have coffee. Come to a seminar. Maybe I'll have one sometime this year. But I would really appreciate you letting me know. I appreciate your comments. Well, especially when they're kind. I'm human, but I'm not limited to it. And I hope you aren't either. Become the one, become the chosen. I choose you. Live love, and be the real I am. See you later. Subscribe. Share these words. This is school. Make an outline. Share these words. Start a blog. Start a dinner group. Start a meeting, a book club, a lesson club. Pick your lesson of the week. Share it with each other. Do something you've never done before. Begin the leadership of you to be led no more by folly. Lead the leadership of you because you choose you, because you come with a motive of humility. And lead in the love of one. Okay, good day. I love you all. Love each other. Love you. And be afraid of nothing. Good day.